afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the DeMarco Report. As always, I am Patrick DeMarco, and boy, do we have a show for you this afternoon. If anyone has watched the media recently, or been on social media, you've probably heard about this kid. His name is Ahmed Muhammad, or as you all may know him, the Clock Kid. He recently brought a clock he made to school, but his teacher thought it was a bomb, and he was promptly detained. The world was outraged. The day it happened, the news of this racial profiling hatred was all over every media source. Even the president himself commented on it. But this is where the line becomes fuzzy. Certain details were hidden from America, and those details which were later reported on seemed to cast a whole new light on the situation. But why would the media do that? Isn't it their job to report the story and all the details surrounding the story? More on this topic in our newest segment, Devil Spawn? Due to the latest Snapchat update that lets you turn your cute children into this crying demon, my staff has been obsessed with making things appear to be demons. Now, if you're familiar with the show, we often like to make outlandish claims and then somehow try to convince you that they are true. So today, we're going to tell you that the national media is the spawn of the devil. As always when discussing serious matters such as this, we go to the most credible source for our information, Urban Dictionary. Urban Dictionary defines a devil spawn as something insidious, evil, and or devious designed to rip apart humanity and destroy everything we hold dear, while at the same time leaving no opportunity for repair. Wow, those are some pretty serious allegations. But in a moment, you might start to see some comparisons that might make them seem a lot less crazy. The first part of the definition of a devil spawn is that it is insidious, evil, and or devious. And that brings me back to my tragic hero, Ahmed. The media jumped on the story, eager to speak about the injustice that happened in that small town in Texas, though they left out a few things. They didn't seem to report on how his sister was suspended for a bomb threat in the same school just 3 short years ago, or how his father is a known Islamic extremist activist, or how the clock he made, he didn't actually make. Experts took a look at that clock and reported that actually it was just an old clock that he stripped out and then put into a briefcase. This is the picture of the clock that he made, air quotes, and this is the picture of an actual briefcase bomb. The media also didn't mention how when Ahmed first pulled out the clock, he refused to tell his teacher what it was. So if you were that teacher, what would you have done? Now, in no way am I saying that this was all planned and on purpose to stir up Islamic activism. But there is something about how these details were omitted from all mainstream reports that is offsetting. Almost devious. The media had a story to tell, and they omitted any details that would make their story seem less concrete. These details could have been reported on, but they weren't. And it happens all the time, not just in this instance. For example, Benghazi, the killing of Trayvon Martin, and even whether or not Donald Trump's hair is truly alive. Different media outlets decide to report on different details and decide to omit ones that don't fit their story, regardless if the details are important or not. But why? That brings us to our second similarity. The second part of the definition is that a devil spawn is designed to rip humanity apart. And isn't that what the story of Ahmed is meant to do? The story of Ahmed was told to bring attention to our differences. It was told to bring attention to the fact that we are different. He's Islamic, I'm not. I'm white, he's not. They wanted to turn a misunderstanding into an act of racism, when quite honestly, it doesn't seem like anybody actually knows all the details of what happened in that town in Texas. It seems like people know as much about that situation as the general public knows how to get Obamacare. But the media wants you to think that they know everything about the situation, so that their message of division and separation between people remains intact. And that is the goal of almost all news stories, to divide, to make a division between Islamic and non-Islamic people, the LGBT community and Christians, or Republicans and Democrats. For another example, let's look at the terrible tragedy that happened in Charleston just almost a year ago. Whenever a tragedy like that occurs, the media often blames the current state of gun laws, race issues, or mental health issues as the main proprietor for what went down. They use this opportunity to try to split humanity once again, to make us argue, fight amongst one another, and to make you feel despair about the current state of the nation. all because that's what's getting them ratings. The media lives off of the turmoil and the splitting of humanity to survive. So clearly it wouldn't want America to heal itself again, which leads us to the final part of the definition of devil spawn, leaving no opportunity for repair. Whenever these horrible instances of killing happen, how often do you hear the victims' names? The media focuses on the killer or the problem. You never hear about the ceremonies or the deceased, or even their names. For example, here is an article about the killing in Charleston, South Carolina this past year. Oh, that's odd. Notice how they only name the killer and not any of the victims. Let's listen to some reports. Surely they'll tell us about the victims.
We have just learned the suspect, 21-year-old Dylan Roof.
So what was going on in the head of Dylan Roof?
When 21-year-old Dylan Roof allegedly opened fire.
Tonight, what we know about the man in custody after an all-night manhunt.
The cold-blooded trigger man captured on surveillance camera.
Wow, that's a lot of clips and not a lot of the victims' names. Honestly, I spent some time looking for the victims' names, and I found one video where all of their names were listed, as opposed to the hundreds talking about the killer. And don't you think that's odd? Instead of highlighting the psychopath, we should be focused more on healing and fixing, not division and destruction. How are we supposed to heal from these tragedies if we don't stick together? And if the wound just doesn't keep getting opened? The wound does not heal if it keeps being opened. Focusing on the differences of humanity is not going to bring us together, it's only going to destroy us. And the media is doing its best to keep opening that metaphorical wound with every instance they can. They love to bring up the evil in the world without highlighting much of the happiness and unity in the world. I think we should just be like Pharrell and promote happiness in the world. Alright guys, now we're going to go off the books right here. We're going to stray from Urban Dictionary, because there's one more similarity that I think is very important between the media and the spawn of the devil. And honestly, it's the most terrifying of them all. Just like how the snake tempted Eve in the Garden of Eden, the media is always tempting and addictive as well. Often people buy into the media without even thinking about it, due to routine and addiction. You turn on to the same media source every morning and believe everything they tell you without fact-checking or looking at other sources. And that's where America needs to start thinking more. To the people who just listen to the media and don't think about it, don't go back and fact-check, you need to start to realize something. They need to start to realize the snake that they are dealing with. The media is designed to show you the bad of the world. And they don't even have to be correct about it. They just have to make you, the reader, believe it. So don't blindly believe what the media says, because often there's a side to the story that they will not show you. Don't take the apple without seeing what God has to say first. Fact check. See multiple sources. For example, you shouldn't even be believing anything I just said until you go fact check it yourself. Be smart, America, and be careful. The media is quick to tell you that we are all different, but we're one people, America. Now, we got a great show for you tonight, and we'll be back right after this.